Here is an extremely concrete suggestion. Go to George Brown College, continuing education night school, and take courses specifically in jewelry making and metalsmithing. It's 10 women for every man, easily maybe more. I've taken lots of these courses. So I came across this Reddit post by a 23-year-old Asian guy, presumably East Asian guy in Toronto, and he's asking for advice on the Ask Toronto, Ask TO subreddit on how to overcome inceldom. So he says he considers himself an incel, or he says he's fallen down the incel rabbit hole, and he disagrees with the misogyny and the resentment and the hatred in the community, but he still thinks his lack of dating success is largely down to his looks. And he says he wants to get out of being an incel, and he's asking for recommendations on what to do. He says he's 5'6", doesn't get any matches on dating apps. He wants to enjoy the summer. By the way, this was 10 months ago, so this is not a recent post. So he's talking about 2024 summer. And he's already going to the gym. He's already getting himself good clothes. What else? Yeah, he just doesn't want to feel negative in his 20s anymore. He wants to do positive things that are going to change his situation. And he says he's even going to therapy as well. And do you know what? People are really nice. People try and help this guy with good answers. But I thought I'd just go through some of the general answer points that people are giving and give my thoughts on it. So the top rated answer, is from a middle-aged woman who first commends him for wanting to get rid of his toxicity. And she says he should focus less on getting a girlfriend, saying happiness comes from within is not something that is given to you. Get out there not to meet a girlfriend, but to socialize, have fun, meet people, gain experience and life stories. Find a mentor, volunteer, join a club. Do what interests you, the rest will follow. And and then people say, get off Reddit, get out the incel stuff, stop using the terms that they use. People in real life don't talk that way. And some people point out as well, very accurately, that dating apps are terrible. They're designed to keep you hooked and addicted, and they're not there to help you actually meet someone. So he should absolutely not use them. There's even another Asian guy who chimes in and says that as well. And again, a lot of the comments are along the same lines of get offline, get out there, meet people, take up hobbies, join clubs, do all these things. Just live your life connecting with people, and over time, things will just happen. Some people point out rightly that confidence is the key factor. There are lots of not so good looking men with extremely attractive women. It's all about confidence. Again, I agree with that. But yeah, so that's the kind of generally how it is. And my kind of take on this is, first of all, it's interesting. It's interesting that people often suggest these same things, but it's also not surprising. This whole point of getting out and living your life, of joining clubs, volunteering, all these things, you can take any of those comments and you can add at the end a sentence which says, hopefully you will meet someone this way. So the point of those activities is to enjoy yourself and be happy and be more comfortable in your own skin, which I agree is a great thing. And you should live your life doing the things that you enjoy. And when you do those things, you're not as focused on meeting someone, you're just focused on being yourself. However, he specifically is posting about finding a romantic partner, whether it's casual or long-term, doesn't matter. He's specifically posting about that. And the thing that I always think people should keep in mind is that why dating apps still continue to exist is because people continue to use them. And part of the reason for that is because a dating app is not just join this club and you might meet someone. No, you go there specifically to meet someone for romantic reasons. You're using it because that's what it's supposed to be for, right? So when they're telling him to go out and join clubs and just enjoy himself and things will just happen, that's not a very directed, targeted way of going about his goal. I mean, you could join, say, a Muay Thai club if that's what you enjoy, like I like Muay Thai, right? And there might just be 2 women in that club and 20 men. And the 2 women might not even be single, right? So you could go out there and take up hobbies that you want to do, but there's no guarantee that you're going to even get to interact with women, or even women that let's say there are women, but they may not necessarily be the women that you want to date. They might not be within your age range. They might not be women you find attractive enough to date. There are all kinds of caveats to this. And that's why I think, though this advice is overall coming from a good place, A lot of it is just hit and hope. Just hit and hope that it works out for you. But there's no guarantee of it. And a lot of the reason why people give advice like this is because for most people, that's how things work. They sort of just stumble into their relationships by chance. And then they look at themselves and go, well, I was just living my life and it sort of happened, right? Now, I think that over the long term, if you give it enough years, then the chances of that just happening go up. If you give it enough time, you do enough things, you travel to enough places. I think travel, by the way, is a great, great idea, because sometimes you could be living in a city doing all these hobbies and stuff, but your city attracts a certain kind of people, or there's just a certain kind of people in the place where you live, whereas you might be better off meeting someone who's a very different mindset, but that kind of person might not exist in the place where you're living. So getting out and traveling is actually a great idea. But anyway, you could go and do all these hobbies, all these things, but there's no guarantee you're going to meet someone. Over the long term, the chances are higher, but I like to think that if his concern is about attracting a partner, and he's already taking positive steps to just be happy in himself, and he can absolutely go and do these other things. If that's his concern, then I still think he ought to do things that are directly about attracting a partner. There's actually one comment that someone puts in, which I thought was quite funny, but also quite cool. What was it? Here is an extremely concrete suggestion. Go to George Brown College, Continuing Education Night School, and take courses specifically in jewelry making and metalsmithing. It's 10 women for every man, easily maybe more. I've taken lots of these courses. You will sit facing and beside each other at small benches to work, and it's zero pressure, zero stress environment to chat socially for several weeks. I love that suggestion, right? I love that suggestion. Not necessarily because I love that, because at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy jewelry making, then you don't really want to be there. But what I love about the suggestion is the guy's thinking, okay, how can this guy actually go out there and meet lots of women in a comfortable environment where he can actually talk to them and they can get to know him? So that, I think, is a really good suggestion. My suggestion to this guy would be try everything. I think even with an app, if you try the apps and they don't work, then don't use the apps, right? But if you haven't tried the app, then I would say try it. But then don't just go to hobbies, don't just go volunteering and all these things. You see someone on the street who is attractive, go talk to her. The chances are pretty low that that's going to result in something. But I've had success in my life even with that, right? Most of the time I haven't had success, but I have had success. And the point I'm getting at, general point I'm getting at is, you might as well try everything. If your objective is to meet someone, if your objective is to meet a partner, go out there and do it all, whether it's dating apps, whether it's maybe a matchmaker, whether it's just approaching girls, approaching women that you see while you're out and about, just doing your day, or whether it's going to dating events, whether it's, I don't know, just traveling, whatever it is, right? Live your life and do all the things that you enjoy, but then also just look for opportunities in the things that you do and where you are. There was one comment which says, I think it was by a woman who says, get out there and do hobbies and clubs to meet people, but not video games, right? I actually disagree with that. I mean, what if, video games, you could play video games in your bedroom with people around the world, or you could go to a game cafe and play, and there might be cute girls there. You never know where you're going to meet the right kind of person for you. You never know, right? I mean, for me, one example I can think of in my life was, and I didn't end up dating this person because we lived in different countries, but I met this girl on a trip I took to Israel to do Krav Maga, summer camp, right? I did Krav Maga, which is an Israeli self-defense martial art, and I went to summer camp, and I met this girl there. She wasn't from there, I wasn't from there, but we both happened to be there just practicing this thing, and we kind of clicked. And I thought, wow, I never would have thought, because there's mostly men there as well, I never would have thought I'd meet someone in that manner, right? So I just made me, all these things in my life convinced me that putting yourself out there and doing all these things is going to increase your chances, but you also have to be taking the opportunities in all those things you do. Yeah. One comment I like, and these are the kind of comments that I really like, it says, reframe your story. Right now, your story might be, I'm a skinny Asian guy in my 20s that doesn't get any attention from girls. I don't know you beyond this post, but I will guarantee there is so much more to you than that. So you got to reframe that story and think differently about yourself. This I really like, because I think even for me in my life, because I'm dating as well, and I have my struggles with it. I realize that it's about how you train your mind to think, because we all have trauma. We all have some kind of neurotic thought pattern that's there. It's been with us for a while. And changing the way we think and retraining our minds and how our mind thinks is actually the key to changing who we are as people. It's all in our minds. And retraining our minds means being able to detect that thought pattern when it arises and to stop it in its tracks. So reframing, as this person is saying, reframing your story in the way you see yourself is actually just saying that, really. It's not that you have to try to pretend to be something completely different, but just that you've got to recognize that the way you're thinking about yourself could just be a thought pattern. It's just this negative thought pattern you've had for a while. So you want to let that go and you want to replace it with something else. And doing all these things like he's doing, going to the gym, therapy, all these positive things are a massive help with that, because it gives you evidence in your life that you're doing good things and that you are a positive person and that there are good things in your life and that things are going well. I go to the gym partly for this as well. It's really about the mental side of it as much as the physical side of it. And then the goal of having a better body or a more aesthetic body really excites me because it will make me feel good about myself. Of course, you don't want to veer too much into the danger zone where you think, until I get that, I cannot be happy. That's not the way to live, because you're alive right now and you want to be happy as you live, right? You want to feel content. So contentment has to be in the moment, but having that exciting goal kind of gives you a lot of good positive energy. And I think energy is really the key. If I was to sort of zoom out again from everything people on here are saying, it's just about having good energy about yourself. And it's really hard actually, especially if you feel victimized by the dating market, if you feel like you don't control things. It's very, very hard to have that good energy, and especially hard when you think that there are people out there better looking than you or better off than you or whatever it is, who just have an easier time, right? It's hard to accept that you're having to struggle so much. But that's kind of how life is. And even I have struggles in my mind about that sometimes when I compare myself to other people. And then I remind myself, okay, the comparison itself is the problem, right? I got to let go of that and I got to just focus on me. So it's not easy. It's not easy. It's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing battle in my mind, in everyone's mind, right? But that is the way that you have to do it. You've got to retrain your mind. You've got to be strong, do the things that you enjoy, and just build positive energy within yourself. Now, people here say if you do that, you will attract the right kind of people. I think it's more that opportunities will open up to you where they might not have before, right? In the sense that when you are talking to someone, you come off a lot better and your vibe is better. I think your vibe is what will really improve here, but you still might not necessarily be attracting people to you because it all depends on where you are, what kind of people you're surrounded by. Which is why I say he, as well as doing all these things, he should be doing things that give him maximum access to the kind of women he wants to be with. So he's got to figure out what that is, first of all, and then do it. So taking targeted action and taking advantage of every opportunity that comes your way is really the key through this. Anyway, it's interesting to read this. I enjoy reading these sorts of things because, first of all, it's quite heartening to see that there are so many people in the world who genuinely want to help you when you reach out for help. And people have some genuinely good suggestions, even though I think I wish they would tell him to take a more targeted approach to it. I still think it's really good, and it's a great thread.